time for India to seriously consider moving toward a uniform civil code, placing women and the freedom of choice at the forefront. Now, the call for a common civil code for all communities, particularly on matters of marriage, divorce and inheritance, have often been held hostage to the debate over cultural norms and freedom of religion. The Law Commission is now seeking public opinion on the exercise of revising and reforming family law of all religions. While that process will continue for a period of 45 days, two specific developments in the past week have emphasized the need for reform of personal law. In the first case, earlier this week, India's central government told the Supreme Court that it was opposed to the practice of triple talaq or divorce in an affidavit filed with the court. The government said that gender equality and dignity of women are non-negotiable, overreaching constitutional values and can brook no compromise. It also added that religious practices cannot be an impediment to rights and aspirations of individual women, irrespective of religion she practices. While deliberations continue in that case, in a decision on another case, the country's top court has granted divorce to a man on the grounds of cruelty after his wife refused to share a home with her in-laws. In the ruling, Justice Anil R. Dave says that the wife's desire to leave her in-laws' home was inspired by Western thought and was in violation of traditional values of Indian Hindus. The ruling further states that in a Hindu society, it is the pious obligation of a son to maintain the parents and that the wife must have justifiable reason to deviate from that norm. The ruling effectively implies that a married woman must live with her husband's family unless, of course, it's the man who chooses to set up a separate home. Joining me for more on that developing story so far as the Uniform Civil Code goes, I'm joined by Kamal Farooqi, Executive Committee member of the Muslim Personal Law Board. I'm also joined by Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, Mr. KTS Tulsi. Thank you, gentlemen, both for joining us today on WION. I want to start by asking both of you your opinions on the idea of a civil code. I'll start with you, Mr. Tulsi. What exactly do you think? Is it time for India to adopt a civil code so far as assuring women of basic rights goes?
See, I think that it is definitely worth considering. I have not examined the entire issue of Uniform Civil Code. What I can definitely say is that the Muslim law as codified in the Holy Quran does not give an absolute and unilateral right to the husband to divorce the wife by way of triple talaq, that is reciting talaq, talaq, talaq 3 times in the same sitting. Because in Quran, Surah 65 deals with this, and verse 1 of Surah 65 prescribes a waiting period of 3 months. So therefore, triple talaq means that 3 times repeating talaq, talaq, talaq is valid. It is not valid according to Quran. And verse 2 of Surah 65 requires 2 witnesses, and there has to be for a just cause. Now, you can't therefore give a triple talaq over a telephone. I believe that 93% of countries, Muslim countries, have already done away with triple talaq. Triple talaq has been illegal in Pakistan since 1961.
Right.
Second marriage is banned in Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei. Second marriage is discouraged in Iran, Iraq, Syria, Bangladesh. Husband and wife have equal rights in Turkey. That is, Muslim husband and wife have equal rights in Turkey and Iran.
Right.
One-sided divorce has been banned in Turkey, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Bangladesh. And triple talaq has been banned in Egypt, Sudan, Jordan, Tunisia, Morocco, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Why are we in India sticking to this? You know, when Hindu Code Bill was adopted, so many of the Hindu practices were done away with by the statute. The sati was done away, untouchability was done away. Whatever may have been the religious practices, if they come in conflict with the constitution or the constitutional values, they can't be valid. That is why in Parveen Akhtar's case, Section 2 of the Muslim Personal Law Board, Personal Law Application Act has been held to be invalid and unconstitutional.
Right, Mr. Tulsi,
In
forgive
W
me for
case,
interrupting you, but
under
let's
Section
also
125.
right. Let's also get Kamal Farooqi in on this. As Mr. Tulsi is pointing out, there have been multiple countries where triple talaq has been banned. India is a secular nation. Why is it that we're still holding on to this practice?
Two things are there. With all my due respect to Mr. Tulsi, because he's a great lawyer, but unfortunately he's also going carried away by the media hype created, and even the factual things which he is talking about, that so many countries have banned. It is incorrect. In fact, they have regulated it. So there is a difference. I hope Mr. Tulsi would be knowing the difference between the banning it and regulating it. Number one. Number two, as far as my constitution is concerned, I have been given the complete freedom, and that's a contract between me and my country. We the people have entered into an agreement wherein the basic fundamental rights have been secured by the constitution, wherein the section 25, 26 is also involved into it. And the Honorable Supreme Court itself in the earlier 3 judgments have very clearly said that they are not legal, they are not here to give the religious dictates, in fact.
Right,
This is
Mr.
what actually has
Farooqi,
to be
but
done
we're
by
not
the
over here. We're
legislation.
not
And in the
talking just
legislation-
about. We're going to expand this conversation beyond religion. As we pointed out, there's been another case where the Supreme Court has granted divorce on the basis of the rights and wrongs so far as the Hindu relationship go. But can you tell me today, in 2017, do you consider it equitable in terms of gender for a man to be able to divorce his wife by saying talaq, 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 but the same sort of rights are not guaranteed to Muslim women? Now, can you call that, forget about semantics, let's not talk about regulation and banning. In your opinion, is it legally correct for that to happen?
Very good question you are asking. It's not in fact the triple talaq which we are talking about, and the government has gone much beyond that. In fact, now while submitting the affidavit, the BJP government has gone much beyond that, and in fact they are going to demolish the whole system of marriage and divorce. Mr. Tulsi is very innocently talking about all those kind of things, but he must understand what actually their intention is. Their intention is of bringing up the uniform civil code through the back door. As far as we are concerned, as far as the Islam is concerned, Islam gives the equal rights to the women. And as far as even the talaq is concerned, it is not one way of only triple talaq which is there. There are 4 ways of getting the marriage dissolution, and because marriage is a contract as far as the nikah is concerned, and in the nikah, in the contract, any stipulation could be made, including the way how to get the divorce. So these systems already are there. And as far as Muslim Personal Law Board is concerned, it has already given a nikah nama which put in all these conditions. Now, my constitution has given me the right that as far as my religion would be protected. That is the basic contract between me and my country.
Right, but Mr. Farooqi, if everything was going as per dictates of legality, why would there be so many petitions by Muslim women asking for the government and the legislature to relook, and the judiciary to relook at this whole concept of triple talaq? That obviously goes to show that women within the religion of Islam are dissatisfied with this practice and would like the country to step in and take a more informed decision in terms of the rights of women within the religion.
Again, you are talking about some of the women which have been talking about, and you are projecting as if the entire Muslim clan and all the Muslim women are
No, I'm not saying that. I am not saying that. I am saying that if women approach the Supreme Court, the highest judicial power in this country, that means that there is a certain amount of dissatisfaction. Now, let's continue this conversation. Let's not. Let's also bring Mr. Tulsi in. You've made certain comments, and I would like him to respond as well. Mr. Tulsi, if you can please respond to some of those comments made by Mr. Farooqi.
You see, I believe that the Constitution of India is a secular document. Penal Code is a secular law. The Criminal Procedure Code is secular. Body of laws in India apply across the board. If Penal Code can be applied to Muslims, why would the right of equality, which is the cornerstone of the constitutional philosophy, not be available to Muslim women? The Muslim women have themselves approached the court and said that their right of equality should be protected and they must be deemed to be equal, because the Constitution says there cannot be any discrimination between men and women in respect of their rights. And similarly, they are saying that they have a right to life. They have a right to life and live with dignity. You can't just discard a woman merely on a whim. And in one sitting 3 times reciting talaq has been held to be illegal and contrary to the law codified in the Quran. All that I am saying is that the human rights, they are women, Muslim women are citizens of India. They have a right to be treated with dignity by their husbands, and they cannot be discarded at a whim by triple talaq. The entire Muslim world has done away with it. Triple talaq has been illegal in Pakistan since 1961.
Mr. Farooqi, what do you have to say about that? Mr. Tulsi is pointing out that
Again, I have stated, and I have a great respect for Mr. Tulsi. In fact, I do not know why he is talking about banning the triple talaq in Pakistan, which is incorrect. Mr. Tulsi, please check your record it straight away. They have what actually they have said. They have regulated the divorce itself. So, and you are mentioning about so many other countries banning. That is not correct. Please check your all the details. In fact, I have got all the details which we can be shared. But what I am trying to tell you, you are trying to project as if the Islamic laws or the Quranic laws are against the women folk.
That is not, Mr. Farooqi, that is not what Mr. Tulsi is saying. What Mr. Tulsi is saying, he is not saying that it is, he is not carrying out an indictment of Quranic law. He is saying that within Quranic law, it does not state that triple talaq is in fact valid.
Listen. We are only defending the Quranic laws, and Quranic laws talk about the 3 talaq, it talk about 2 talaq, it is talk about 1 talaq. Talaq in itself, as you ask me, talaq in itself is the most unpleasant action. But it is required in extreme cases, as we know in our country, that if the husband and wife, they are not living together properly, to get the divorce, they take years into the whole thing. But if there is a contract, and if there is an arbitration clause, and if there is a situation wherein they have to separate it, instead of fighting in the courts, there is a honorable exit route if the arbitration is being done and this is being said. But this is all provided in the Quranic laws. What I am trying to tell, that Mr. Tulsi is quoting the Quran Majid out of context. He please understand, and please go through our affidavit which we have filed. We have said that this is applicable. In this forum, it's very difficult for me to explain the entire Quranic verses as Mr. Tulsi is trying to recite. In fact,
for the sake of conversation and engagement, Mr. Farooqi, for the sake of engagement on this forum, I request you to keep your answers a bit short and to the point and succinct. I understand that it's difficult for us to look at the entire huge picture that we're looking at right now on this forum, but I want to ask you one other question, Mr. Farooqi. Now, you say that the process of going through divorce is a long and legal process, takes a lot of time, and therefore this system of triple talaq therefore does away with those lengthy periods of time that a quarreling couple perhaps has to go through. But tell me something, why is that only applicable when the male member of a relationship wants to exit that relationship? If a woman too decides that, I want to take a divorce. Wait, let me finish. Please, let me address this question. I'm not wrong. I'm asking you to explain this to me and to our viewers so that we have a better understanding of what you're saying is an incorrect understanding of Quranic law. Now, if a woman wishes to exit a relationship with a man, a Muslim woman married to a Muslim man, and she chooses that, she finds that the legal process is perhaps too long, does she have the option of saying talaq, talaq, talaq and walking out of a marriage?
Yeah, she has got the option of 2 options she has got. One is the khula. She can go to the court, to the Qazi, and say that this husband, Masik, is cruel to me, or I am not in a position to live together, and there are various reasons in fact, and Qazi could declare the marriage dissolved. She can get the divorce, which is called khula. There is another condition. there is another condition that in the contract itself, she can take away this right at the time of marriage itself, while the nikah nama is being performed, wherein she has got the option of saying Kabul. It is not like the Kanhaiya Dan in other religion. In fact, it is the contract between the would-be husband and wife, and at that particular point of time, if they are entering into a condition of divorce, that is valid in Islam, that is a Quranic.
Right, no, but my question to you is that can she use WhatsApp or a telephonic conversation and just say talaq, talaq, talaq to exit that relationship? Is she allowed to do that?
Again, let me tell you one. Again, let me tell you one thing. Whatever the communication, it's an Indian legal terminology. The communication could be through post, through all communications, through the fax, through the WhatsApp, through the telephone. It could be both way, because if you are in a position, but anybody is doing fraudulently, he would be charged.
So I'm asking you a different question. I'm asking you if a woman is capable of doing that and receiving divorce.
You are asking the same question
no,
again and again.
No, I'm not, sir. I'm asking you, can a woman use that same argument and say talaq, talaq in any form, whether it's on fax, whether it's on WhatsApp, as you're pointing out, through any form of communication? Is that same right guaranteed to a woman as it is to a man?
Yes, she has got the same right if it is being put into the contract.
All right, fine.
She has got all the right, and it is the communication through which, it is the right. She has got all the rights under the Quran. If she is entering into a contract with a would-be husband, she could put up all these kind of conditions.
All right, fine. So let's move on to our the next part of our discussion then. I don't want either of our guests to assume that this is a concentration on one religion and one religion's practices alone. We're also going to look at the other verdict that came in about the man who has been granted divorce by the Supreme Court on the basis of cruelty and the fact that his wife was prescribing to Western thought by choosing not to live with her in-laws. Mr. Tulsi, your idea on that decree that we've had to read.
You see, both husband and wife have a right to live together. If they can't live together, husband can move out or wife can move out. But both husband and wife also have equal obligation to maintain one another. If the wife chooses that she cannot live with her in-laws, whether she is right or wrong, she has a right to decide. She is a full human being. She is not a half human being. She has a right to decide whether she can live with the husband or not. So there is no question of a different law or a different prescription for women as compared to men. The right to live together is voluntary. If they are happy together, very well and good. If they are happy to live with their in-laws, very good. But you cannot force the wife to live with the in-laws even when she is not happy, because she is either being subjected to cruelty, or she is being subjected to ill treatment or demands, whatever may be the reasons. Whether it may even be without reason. It will be deemed to be a desertion, but she has a right to choose the situs of her living, either in the matrimonial home or outside the matrimonial home. I think that the same right should be available to all women. In this day and age, Muslim countries have gone much further, and we cannot keep India in a medieval age.
Right, Mr. Tulsi.
I can read the Quran, Surah 65 if you like.
Yes, you did that for us, but I would like to expand this conversation, because in terms of that decree that we were talking about today, the Supreme Court has gone ahead, and I'm going to pick up a couple of the tag words really from that decision. The man has been granted divorce on the basis of cruelty for the fact that the woman seems to be prescribing to Western thought, and the fact is that the woman is expected to live with her in-laws, and these are the basic obligations of a Hindu son toward his family, that he must maintain his parents, and that it is the woman in this case is duty bound to live with her in-laws post-marriage. Now, Mr. Tulsi, what are we talking about? We're talking about, this is 2016. Can the court really prescribe to these kinds of arguments when giving out a divorce decree to somebody, allowing for divorce to go through in this case? there are, of course, other factors involved in this case. I'm not going to get into that. But since we are talking about a uniform civil code, isn't it time for us to really readdress the entire concept of marriage in this country and the way the courts are involved in awarding divorces to couples who are unhappy with one another?
That's true. We should not, and also, like Mr. Farooqi is very right when he says that we can't expect young people to spend half their life in getting a divorce. The matrimonial issues are lingered for decades sometimes, and the courts must realize that the youth is not coming back. If they are going to spend 10 years of their youth in getting rid of a relationship which hasn't worked, it is by itself inflicting cruelty on both of them. But I think that in this case, the rights of men and women under the Constitution of India must be regarded as identical. Both are citizens and no one can be put at a disadvantage. If a husband can decide that he has a duty to maintain his parents, very well. But if the wife is not happy, she has a right to end a relationship.
Right.
There is very well they can say that even if the judge thinks that her decision is not correct, it will be deemed to be desertion and a valid ground for divorce. But I don't think you can compel a woman to hitch her wagon to a relationship in which she is not happy.
Right. Mr.
So
Farooqi,
there has to be an honorable exit out of a marriage.
Right. We are running out of time on the program. Mr. Farooqi, your closing comments. See, we've talked about, as you mentioned, legal processes in India tend to take a fairly long time, which is perhaps one of the reasons why the triple talaq system appears to be more appealing, as you're pointing out, in order to end marriages which are, not getting along. The couple is not getting along. But as we've seen in this case, in a different community, different culture, different religion, the court has awarded divorce to the man on the basis of the woman prescribing to Western thought. So clearly, in my opinion, if you were to ask me, I feel that the voice of the woman here is not being heard, and it's true across the spectrum. It's not true just for Muslim women or just for Hindu women or Sikh women. And that perhaps builds the case further for a uniform civil code, where the rights and the rights of every person of Indian citizenship, irrespective of gender, is taken into consideration. Your thoughts, Mr. Farooqi?
Yeah, my thought is that it's a very dangerous design. When we talk about the Uniform Civil Code, in fact, we are not visualizing that we have got a country wherein we have got not only the Muslims, we have got the Sikhs. Unfortunately, Sikhs do not have a personal law which they should have, but they do not have. That is up to them whether they have it or not. We have the Christians, we have the Adivasis, we have the Dalits. Even among the Hindus, there are Lingayats and Adivasis. They say we are not Hindus. There are in Adivasis there is a custom having more than one wife, and the divorce is easily available. In Lingayats, they don't have all those kind of things. In one of the religion, we know it that going on the road in a naked manner would be objectionable in the normal circumstances, but keeping in view the respect for the religion, we all give the respect. So what kind of uniform civil code we are talking about? And if this would have been possible, then at the time of getting into the constitution, at that particular point of time, Baba Sahib Ambedkar has said that anybody would be fool if they go in on this path without taking the people into confidence. This has to, I am the follower of the constitution. We have to follow the constitution, and when we are talking about the equality, we are on the same fundamental right. We have got the equality, we have the freedom of practicing our religion, and as far as these marriages are concerned, that is absolutely in accordance with the Constitution of India, and Supreme Court has got no right to write the religious dictates, in fact. This is what actually they have said in 3 earlier judgments.
Right, Mr. Farooqi, thank you for joining us on this show as well, Mr. Tulsi. Clearly, very different approaches to the same question. Does India really need that uniform civil code? Is it time for the country to move forward, keeping in mind the fact that we are in 2016? As a lot of us would rightly put it, only time will tell how that argument goes forward. But on that note, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us on that discussion. I'm Aisha Sindhu. You were watching us on a special conversation regarding whether it's time for India to adopt a uniform civil code. On that note, we're going to take a break. News and updates follow on the other side. Stay with us.